All right, I am Brett Hominick, and I am here with none other than Paulette Rubinstein.
Oh dear.
And many of you might be familiar with her voice work with Titra Studios. And would you like to introduce yourself and just to say a little bit more about your career to our viewing audience?
Well, as far as Titra goes, I have dubbed many a film into English. A number of Ingmar Bergman's, Cries and Whispers, Autumn Sonata, etc., etc. And I had many nice years there doing that kind of work, which was quite interesting. You get to meet a lot of very interesting people as they come through, and of course all of my colleagues who were all dubbing as I was. It was a great group of people. Most of them are gone now, which is sad in a way. But I enjoyed the years there doing that. I truly did.
Well, how did you get started at Titra? What led to your being hired there as a voice actor?
Somebody said to me, "Have you ever dubbed?" And I said, "Have I ever what?" And they said, "Dubbed." I said, "No." They said, "Foreign films into English." And I said, "No." He said, "Well, they're looking for actors at this place." And of course it was Titra, and I went up and I looked up at the screen and I caught on immediately as to what had to be done. You couldn't sit there thinking about anything. When the picture came on, you had to be ready in order to put the English in the mouths of the actors who on screen who were actually speaking French or Italian or whatever. I was able to do it. It is interesting, as I found out later, to note that there are people who can synchronize without thinking, but they can't act. So you can't use them. And then there are some awfully good actors who just have a terrible time syncing. They just can't. They're trying to do it on some conscious level, and it can't be done that way. So there were problems, but we managed to pull together a team, a group of actors who worked quite well through the years, and great people with whom to work, I must say.
Well, just tell our audience what it was like to dub. Like, what is the process involved in coming up with the right dialogue to match the lip movements and so forth?
Well, being as I was very nearsighted, very myopic, I would put my eye to the moviola close up, and the image was like this far away from me. So as a nearsighted person, I was seeing wonderfully well. And I would turn the sound off. I mean, I had a script with a literal translation of what was being said. And the character might have said, "Well, it was the other day, it went in Italy, the Bay of Naples." And I would see what it looked like if you were reading lips. I would see what it looked like and how close I could come to saying pretty much what was being said, or saying something parallel or close to, because you want to be true to the integrity of the script, but you also want to make it look as if they're speaking English to the extent possible. Some languages are easier than others. Swedish, German are essentially easier to go into English because the languages like Spanish and Italian and French are spoken very quickly. We don't speak English that quickly.
That's right. Well, you worked with a lot of other voice actors at Titra,
Oh, yeah.
such as Peter Fernandez, Corinne Orr, and several others. Could you please talk about some of the personalities involved and what it was like to work with them on a day-to-day basis?
Well, the day-to-day would last as many days as it took to get the whole film recorded and have an English track, an English dialogue track. The people of whom you speak and others were, there was nobody in the group that of whom I could have said, "Oh, that person is terrible," or "I don't want to work with that person." That very rarely happened, and it was usually because there was some outsider. And I always felt that I would rather work with somebody who wanted to work and do the work cooperation before maybe the better reading or the better acting, only because it would be very time consuming to have some diva walk in and very, very self-involved and full of herself.
Hello.
Yes.
This is, by the way, introduce yourself. Who is
I'm
this?
the full of myself diva. That was some awesome camera work. Hi, how you doing? My name's Liane. She birthed me into the world about 45 years ago. This is Blinky.
Oh, and why don't you two banter back and forth, and I will make some adjustments to make sure that we're all in the picture here. Just one moment.
Okay.
Here, Blinky, Blinky's your stand-in.
Yes, look, that's perfect.
There you go.
That way it's perfect.
All right.
There you go.
And we
No
are
animal
back.
cruelty involved. Just in case
No.
there's a PETA person watching, or
No, better
bird
not.
was not hurt in the making of this interview.
No.
Well, I do want to ask Liane, now that you're here. We've talked about Titra dubbing, and also one thing that Paulette is known for among Godzilla fan circles is her voice work in Godzilla vs. the Thing and Gammera the Invincible.
No. I didn't play Godzilla, and I did not play Gammera.
That's what she says now.
But what do you think about those films, Liane?
Oh, epic. Epic. What do I think? Well, I think that I went through my first Godzilla, Gammera, Mothra, Rodan phase when I was little and told about all these things, and then had to relive all of it with my now 21-year-old between the ages of when he was, I don't know, about 3 to 8. It was Godzilla and Mothra and Rodan and Ultraman and yeah. Yeah, and then unfortunately we segued into Power Rangers from there, which I'd like to go back to the Godzilla movies. They actually scared me when I was little.
Really? Wow.
Yeah, they were a little creepy. Then as an adult, I kind of wondered what I was thinking.
Bet you did.
Especially when the lips kept moving and no one was talking, and then it was the other way around, and I don't know.
Well, hey, I mean, if it was happening like that, it wasn't because of Titra Studios. That must have been Hong Kong or some other dubbing company responsible for that missynchronization, shall we say.
Yeah, I would blame the mixer.
But, what did you think, Paulette, working on the Godzilla movies and the monster movies and so forth at the time that you were working on them?
I wasn't thinking. I truly was not thinking. It was just, a job, a day's work, and I'd come in and I would do it. These films to me were films that if I had not been dubbing them, I would never have seen. Because I don't go to horror films and terror films and stuff like that. I find it kind of silly.
No, she's a Bergman lady.
Well, why don't you say a few words about Ingmar Bergman and working with him, because you've actually worked with him.
Yes. The last time, with Autumn Sonata, that was the last time Ingrid Bergman came to our studios. He had promised that if she went to New York, he promised he would go with her. And certainly he did appear, and he was there, and he was very, very helpful. I enjoyed our brief conversations. I was amazed. He said, "I see you work like I do," and I thought, "Oh, sure, sure." He said, no, he said, "I watch." He said, "I do the same thing." He said, "I know you're watching for lip sync, but I can see that you're very tuned into the performance that's being given, and that's how I work." He said, "I sit there with my head in my hands looking at the floor while they're doing the scene, and if it's right, I can hear that it's right." And I thought it was amazing that he picked up on that, because in fact I am oral, I'm not visual, primarily oral, not visual. I thought that was interesting.
That's high praise, definitely.
I mean,
from-
it was nice. That is about it. I've also worked with Jan Troll, with whom I enjoyed working very, very much, who had done 2 lovely movies, The Immigrants and The New Land, in which you did some voices.
Oh.
I did. And I got to go to Stockholm and eat crayfish. It was awesome. I think I even got to miss school for that. That was the best part.
So a lot of people know that you've done 16 Candles and so forth, but they don't know that you actually worked with Liane Curtis and did The Immigrants in the New Land.
Max von Sydow, and there was an actor named Eddie Ekberg. He was the youngest of all of them, and I think I had a little crushy on him. It was really kind of funny. I would follow him around and be like, oh, is Eddie going to be in the studio today? I think my mom put me with a nanny in some daycare or childcare, which honestly,
In Stockholm.
in Sweden, they take really good care of their children, but I wasn't having any of it. I made sure to stay miserable the whole day. You know, that was good. But, let's see. Immigrants, what else did I do for you? Le Bonheur was the first one, wasn't it?
I think Le Bonheur was the first one.
Agnes Varda movie. And
Yes.
I don't know, she's not telling you that she worked with Marcello Mastroianni.
I never did.
Yes, you did, didn't you? Oh, no.
I had trouble finding somebody who
Could sound like him, that's what it was.
or could, and I found Michael Lombard. Michael Lombard.
Too many Michaels, what can I tell you?
Michael Lombard's a fabulous actor, and I'd seen him in some Broadway shows, and I thought he was marvelous. And I walked in the studio where they were auditioning people, and he was doing something at the mic, and I said, "Oh, really good actor. The voice, I hear truth. As Tony Menino used to say, there was another great actor.
That was my acting teacher.
He was absolutely brilliant. He used to say the measure of an actor's talent is his sense of truth, and I think in large part that is true. There you go. But I enjoyed, I enjoyed the work.
That's good.
Well, what about, I guess just to wrap everything up here, well, I'm certain you both have a lot to say about Jack Curtis, another Titra voice dubber. So
That's never heard of him.
It's my husband, her father. There'd be a lot to say. Jack was very good at all this stuff, really very good, and very, very witty and funny in the studio. One time when he had a very long speech to do, which couldn't be cut shortened or stopped in the middle and then go on, there was no way to edit it. So after about 3 takes, he still couldn't get to the end. It was a matter of breathing, a matter of having enough breath to get through the whole thing. And we put the lights on in the studio, and he turned to everybody who was there and said, "You don't understand. I have very teensy lungs."
That's my dad.
Well, do you have any memories of Jack Curtis?
Well, the memories I have are kind of vague, but I do remember going into studio and seeing Speed Racer cartoon on the big screen and the 3 mics, and I remember running around in there a lot, and being invited out when it was time for them to start working again, because I probably wouldn't shut up either. But he was a good guy. He was a lot of fun. He took me on rides to imaginary places on my rocking horse, and he had a really good sense of humor. He was a good dad for the little amount of time I had him around. I'm glad to come from the gene pool I come from which I come.
Okay.
Never end a sentence with a preposition, Brett.
That's true.
You're thinking of Churchill, up with which I will not push.
Something, or Beavis and Butthead, but we won't go there.
Okay.
Yes, we've already had our fill of Daria and so forth.
Diarrhea.
Cha-cha-cha. Anyway, all right. Well, do you have any closing comments here?
It's really nice to have you over.
Oh, well, thank you very much. We get to talk about me now. That's
Yes,
great.
we do.
I like that.
That's good.
This
That's
is Brett
good.
Hominick, everybody.
That's right.
And I even say that right.
That's right. It's
I
not
do.
Hominick. It's
No.
not anything else. It's Hominick.
It's
Thank you.
Hominick. And
Remember that.
Hominick is on his way to Japan. Let him tell you about that.
Oh, a lot of people don't know that yet, but that's okay. I guess I'll find out this way.
That's
But
in the next installment.
that's in the next installment, part 2 of whatever this is. So,
Bird World.
all right. Well, I guess if that's it, if you don't have any other comments,
Oh, I have plenty of other comments, but I just don't know that they're relevant to what you want. So I'll just shut it.
all right. Well, I guess that's it for now, and thank you for watching, and we'll see you next time.